All right. Hello. Good morning. Yeah. The youngest is sick today, so I'm having a part day. So I just came from a meeting talking about what we're building next, or at least our team is building next. Yeah. So we'll have some time now until the little one wakes up, and then I have to go. But again, that's the nice thing. People in interviews, people very often ask, like, how do we relate to, or what's the culture like with family and just in general. If you're, how should I put this? Like, if you need to take some time off, like, what's the culture around that for whatever reason? And there's a lot of trust at Code Sandbox. It doesn't matter. It's like we just expect everyone who works at Code Sandbox, if they work here, they want to work here. And if they don't want to work here, we hopefully have the trust and the transparency to just be open about that, and then we'll try to solve it together. And if not, of course, whatever we can do to help you move somewhere else, we'll gladly do that. So that means that so for me, having small kids, they're often sick. It's difficult to balance this. Just a normal day for me isn't like a full, in terms of hours, it's never a full day. But the point is that if I have the flexibility to control this myself, I put a ton more work in, like in terms of productivity, because if I had a bad night's sleep, I don't feel obligated to meet at 8 in the morning. I'll sleep, maybe I take a nap before I go to work or whatever. I'm kind of responsible for outputting my best, whatever that means for me. And then people go through phases. Like, you might have a month that's really shitty, your output isn't that great, and that's perfectly fine. Then you have like half a year, you feel like king of the world or queen of the world, and then you might have a couple of shitty months again. Like, this is just life, right? And yeah, I've like talking to my neighbors who has very traditional consultancy jobs, and they also having small kids. They envy the flexibility I have here, which makes me very grateful for the flexibility I have. By the way, this is Gather. If you've never seen Gather before, this is our remote office, Gather. So we have like our working spaces, we have like meeting rooms, and there I can see like, well, someone is having a meeting by themselves. But anyways, so I just came from this session where we talked about the next set of implementations for our team, and I need to work on that, so I thought we could do that. Because the linting stuff I was exploring, I still need to work, like we need to play around with that a little bit more. I'm thinking about it all the time, like how to make a good linting experience with latency. That's basically it. It's kind of like it reminds me of this video where I learned about how Apple solved on-screen keyboard. Like, it looks like every key has the same size, but based on what's been typed, it does like a checkup. What's the most likely word or most likely character you're going to press next? And based on its likeliness, the touch zone for that character on the keyboard is expanded. It's brilliant, but and that's what I feel about. Not that it's a different problem space, but it's the same with the linting. Like, when you have latency on linting, and we can't get past that because it's like client-server communication, you have to do some smart things that the user doesn't know about. It just feels like the linting is popping up exactly when you want it to pop up, and doesn't contribute to the user being aware of the latency. Because that's what's happening now. The user becomes very aware of the latency with the linting on, as opposed to the linting off. If the linting is off, you don't notice any latency. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Anyways, but we have this project, and I need to create some tasks of what we're going to do. So basically what we're doing next is that we're working on we've been playing around, like, it's very interesting, this infrastructure we have with our micro VMs. And like, it doesn't matter how big your project is, you just hit that branch button, and within a couple of seconds you have a brand new VM continuously running the dev process and whatever else was running, and you just start coding. And we had so much success with this that we started thinking about what if you could run more prototyping like experiences there. So that's basically what we're doing. We are going to add some new templates to Code Sandbox, which requires server-side things like Next.js and Remix and stuff like that. And we're going to use the same infrastructure to run those things. And that means we need to make some changes, because the working title for this full development that we've been working on for the past 1.5 years is projects, Code Sandbox projects. It always started out as like, what should we call this thing? Let's just call it projects. And then projects became a problem because it conflicts with just the internal usage of the term project, but it kind of stuck. And then at the point where we had to name it for public release, we kind of were so used to it. But most likely when we do like the big official release where Code Sandbox becomes like this one product, which is now after our explorations in full development and stuff, there is just sandboxes. Yes, but the problem is that we have a lot of terminology related to projects. So we have to make some adjustments to the client so that we don't talk about projects there anymore. And then we have to implement some stuff in our development process in the micro VMs that is going to persist, because with projects you're always tied to a repo, but for these sandboxes you aren't tied to a repo. So we need to store the file somewhere, and we have a plan for that. So what we're going to do is just write the high-level tasks that needs to be done. So implement persistence of sandboxes on Pitcher. So we're going to add some description to that, but that's the high-level task. And then we have a refactor, implement sandbox UI for editor. So we should avoid using, like we've been calling it a project editor, but it's just a web editor for the V2 web editor. Okay, which sounds like a big thing, but it's actually very small. Or is this, wait a minute, is this the project? Oh, shit, I put them on the wrong, god damn it. How do I move it? Sandbox support in the editor, that's right. We also want you to be able to move from like a prototyping sandbox experience to a repo. But that's a different project. Manage sandbox permission, sandbox info. Okay, great. So SEO support. Let me. Can I move this to like as a subtask? No. Oh, isn't there like a what's the? There it is. Move. Can I add set parent set parent issue? Recent. So this would be web editor. Yeah. So we'll move that there. And this is not a backlog thing. This is. I'm not sure if this has the highest priority because. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Oh, can I just. Yeah, there we go. Manage sandbox permissions. Yes. Nice. So let's do a to-do here, and we're going to set parent. There we go. Sandbox info. We need sandbox info. And let's move that to parent, set parent issue. Sandbox authorize. Yeah, but this is really, I'm going to change this because this is really going to be, let's just add parent first. So this is more mapping. So the thing is that in terms of our API, a sandbox is something different than what we now call a project. So we have different endpoints. And also when you connect to a repo, which we technically call a project, the permission model is different than from a sandbox. So we have to kind of map these two things. And that's not a problem, because in terms of the URL, we have a concept called a provider. So the code comes from somewhere, and now we have GitHub, but we'll also add sandbox. So we just check on what kind of provider it is, what we want to do in terms of calling endpoints and showing stuff in the UI, and doesn't matter. Introduce. Well, refactor client to sandbox instead of project. So basically, yeah, maybe we can write this out first. We have two types of URLs. GitHub owner, oops, repo branch. Well, not really branch. We have it, but you don't need it. And then we have sandbox ID. Oh, well, we have two. Wait, no, I shouldn't write it like this. We have two. The current project editor should become the sandbox editor. It does not matter if it is technically running just a sandbox or a branch. to differentiate what endpoints to call adjustments in UI, etc. To different, we have two different providers. Sandbox and GitHub. These are reflected in the URL. So Sandbox ID, and GitHub owner repo. Well, and branch. Let's just add that. The existing project type needs to be changed to Sandbox. Where we use a base sandbox type for shared properties and explicit what should we, yeah, this is tricky, and repo sandbox. Well, GitHub sandbox, that's what we have to call it. Where we use a base sandbox type for shared properties. In addition, we have explicit we need to change the project type to a bit more complex typing structure. I can just write it in here. So type base sandbox shared properties between a sandbox and a repo. And then we have, the problem is that we call it a sandbox. Yeah, I think we just have to call it, well, it's like a sandbox. That's the problem. So sandbox would be sandbox, or GitHub sandbox. I guess it's uppercase H. But I don't like sandbox. Oh, this is, by the way, equals. By the way, can I add like a TS thing here? No, it's just code. Okay. Can it change? No. That's kind of sad. Type GitHub sandbox. So the challenging thing here. Oh yeah, we can call them provider. Sandbox provider. Yeah. This is nice. Base provider. Yeah. We call it provider. Base provider, sandbox provider, GitHub provider. And then these ones need to have provider sandbox, and then provider params would be like ID, for example. And then when we have a GitHub provider, the provider is GitHub. And provider params would now be like owner, repo, and branch. Oh, now it understands that it's type. Oh, this is interesting. And then we have export type sandbox is sandbox provider or GitHub provider. This is nice. This is perfect. And then, of course, we'll yeah, I guess it's better if we do this. So the thing we can do in the client now is that we can check on the provider. Is it a sandbox or is it GitHub? And then we can evaluate what endpoints to call if we need to, yeah, whatever. That's super nice. This is gonna be awesome. Cool. And yeah, we're going to go through this later. So I think the most important thing for me to contribute with here is this thing. Like, how do we actually approach differentiating sandboxes from repos or from GitHub, really? Maybe like we're talking about what our terminology should be moving forward. Yeah, but I like this. What provider is it? Is it the sandbox or is it GitHub? And GitHub. So you could argue like the provider is Git and then name would be GitHub, right? You could say that. But I don't think that makes sense. It just means that if we were ever going to have like, yeah, I think we should just be very explicit now. We shouldn't pre-optimize. Maybe we'll end up just having this. Who knows? Cool. Cool. Nice. We're happy with that. And then what we need to do is we need to fill in. I don't like the navigation of like, I just want to go up. And then I want to move. Like, I just want to move up. I wish there was a better, like, yeah, I can click there. But yeah, I wish there was like an up button. Anyways, so the interesting thing is implement persistence of sandboxes in picture. So here we, I made this Excalibur of how this is going to work. So we hibernate, commit, persist when we wake up. So so what we do, we store. It's really interesting how this is going to work. So there, it's going to be some new templates for Code Sandbox that brings you to the new editor experience, like Next.js and stuff. And then we're going to persist those files. It's actually really smart what we're doing here. Hopefully it works out the way we plan it. So we're even though you are like running a sandbox, we actually use Git behind the scenes to store it. And then yeah, so this one is going to go and grab So if needed, so this is the thing, like typically when we wake up, this is only if no Git. So we might not do this. So I'm not sure. I need to ask someone about this because I don't understand how we can get into a scenario where, well, yeah, if no workspace. Yeah, I guess if we move to a different cluster or something, you might fire up your VM where the files are gone. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to separate this. Wake up. Wake up. Same cluster. Wake up. What should we say? Wake up. Okay, let's just write workspace exists. But there's also a way to wake up where that's not the case. Oh, does this actually work? Oh, nice. That actually works really well. So this is really important. What I'm doing here is that and then reset hard to bring files back. I use a lot of excalidraws, especially when explaining implementations, and I simplify them as much as I can because I think the like overall mental model is more important than like explaining in nitty-gritty details. So basically what this is that whenever we create a new VM for a new template, it goes to the API and grabs the sandbox. And we write that write to workspace. And we write that to the workspace. What's really cool is our technology that allows us to, whenever you as a user would fork this template, we already have a VM that holds all the files. So you will just get instant, and even it runs the dev process and everything. And you instantly get into that experience. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a git init. On your VM so that we can start tracking some changes. So what happens is that you would just save as normal. And whenever we go into hibernation, we will create a commit for you and we'll move that Git folder into the persistent store of our infrastructure. Which means that normally when you revisit that VM, it will just work. Everything's still there, but for some reason you haven't visited for a long time, maybe something weird happened to the cluster or whatever, we have to like reinitialize the VM. We can go to the persistent store, bring back that Git folder, and we'll just do like a hard reset. And then Git will actually put all the files back in the folder. which is awesome. And we have some plans for using this tech. The interesting thing is that from a product perspective, you don't really use Git. When you're in a sandbox, it's only about, like, a sandbox should feel very ephemeral. But that's the UX we build for it. But technically, we use this approach behind the scenes, which allows us to build some unique features not available in V1, and also moving to an actual repo should be much simpler. Okay, so let's copy this thing. Copy to clipboard as PNG. Persistence of sandboxes in picture. So, persistence of, so what we need to do, what should I describe it? Sandboxes in V2 will be specific templates. These templates will be loaded on new VMs, ready to be forked. Let's see. This is an overview of the life cycle. When a template is forked, Pitcher will do a git init, which we will use in combination with our persistence store to store sandboxes for V2. I'm gonna shove that in there. And then, where the hell did it go? Oh, I probably shouldn't have exited. There we go. I need some more water, and we'll start adding some sub issues for this. Let's see. Let's just eager for it. go. I'll fix that. Let's see. We just got an issue we should fix. So this is what I love. Like I'm in here working in linear, and then someone said something. React Webpack cookbook. I can't believe it. That's old. Anyways, and I made this PR. I think it was yesterday. And we had this environment interface, and the tests are failing. So let's just dive right into the editor and fix it. Because the problem is the tests. Let's see, and I can't quite remember how this worked. Projects from PMP. God damn it, how did this work? It doesn't work with Jest, it needs to be transpiled. Oh yeah, it's the mapping. It's the, I remember now. So I believe that's not here. Oh, it's actually in here. We do, is it tsconfig? No, sorry, the Jest, it's of course in the Jest config. Yeah, here it is. So I guess if I try to, let's just try it. Web Code Sandbox version 2 PMPM tests. I guess it breaks, but if I go in here and I do this little thing, Code Sandbox environment interface, dist CJS. Cool. We'll just add that to the module mapper. That's why we build CJ. I can't believe Jest doesn't support ESM yet, like officially. I think it's experimental still. That's like one of the biggest issues with Jest, is that you have to do this mapping. Probably a good reason. But one thing that I also want to fix is for some reason I think we need to change this. So now if I do, yeah, let's test this. So if I want to, for example here, I want to do use environment interface. You see it imports it from /, which is wrong. And that's of course here. So I'm not sure how to prevent it from. Is it just the order? What if we change the order? I'm actually not sure if it picks this up. Oh, let's try restart. Or I'm pretty sure there's a different. Yeah, there's probably a different way to express this. What the hell? Because of course when we do an asterisk there, that would also include this. Okay, tsconfig paths. Maybe there's some examples. So then we have star. It's really annoying. That's a typo, I guess. I wonder how to fix that. But is it like, is it actually a series of paths, blah, 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 blah. You can tell, just put a number of custom prefixes to find con. But is it like, is it regexp? Somebody must have had this issue. Is it, maybe I can just do this. Maybe? Let's try that. Okay, I probably need to restart. Use environment. Oh, now it's a star. That didn't work. At least we feel confident that the changes are picked up. Yeah, this is super, super annoying. tsconfig path asterisk and non-asterisk. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a Webpack thing. Yeah. Oh, was a problem? Yeah, sorry. I guess it's very like path related. Yeah, nobody has actually. This can be set up in your. God damn it! This is so annoying. Sorry, that's Oh, this is interesting. Oh, maybe that's the thing I need to do. So environment interface, and then let me. Yeah, so environment interface would be and this. Could I do this? I wonder how it acts with this. Restart. Sorry, I got stuck in something else here now. But this is important. Like, this is development experience. Use environment interface. Wait a minute, that's wrong. Doesn't seem like it actually restarted the thing. Or did it just lead to the same? No, of course not, because that was... Let's try restarting it again. I'm not sure if it's actually properly restarting. Let's just restart the whole project. Yeah, sometimes when we restart, like we can't guarantee that your files... Yeah, I have to ask about that as well. God damn it, but now this won't work, right? Oh, god damn it. Yeah, now I can't read. This is weird. God damn it. How would I... Okay, let me try restarting again. Because it kept the just config, but it for some reason the TS config wasn't... Okay. Okay, now it had it. So let's see what it does now. Use environment. Yeah, it worked. And I can still do... Ah, nice. Nice, it worked. Oh, we shouldn't save this. Beautiful. And let's try running the tests. Oh yeah, of course, I've been restarting everything here. Close and stop preview. We don't really care about this. Let's just go and run the tests, see if they run. Web, code sandbox, v2, pm test. And the tests are happy. I am happy. Commit and push. Also fixed the bad import. Let's ask for another review on this. Cool. And I just got... yes. And now we're going to deploy Captain's... We have something called Captain's Bridge, which is all our stuff running. So we're going to deploy latest picture and new cluster. Yeah, I'm excited about this update. It should really improve the linting and formatting experience. Cool. Let's jump back into it. So what do we actually need to do here? I haven't actually looked at this logic for hibernation and stuff. There are basically two places we need to look here. We already have the logic for this part of the process. So we actually don't need to change that. It's more when we initialize. So we'll have to look at some code to see if we can identify which provider it is so that we can generate this git init thing. Generate or git init when VM, when workspace has no. Well, this is the thing. We should only git init if we. Or does it matter? What if we did git init here? We will have that git folder here as well. Let's see. So I guess what we can check. Yeah, I think we should just have generic logic that checks. Do we have a git folder in the workspace? No. Do we have a git folder in the persistent store? No. Okay. Generate it. And persistence store has no git folder. And this is on me, I guess. And then what we also have to do when pitcher hibernates, perform a commit and copy .git folder to persistence store. I wonder if we're able to test this. So I guess like this piece of logic would actually just work. Well, I guess no. So we have to explicitly do that. Okay, so when no workspace but persistent has git folder, copy it over and reset. Cool. Interesting thing is that's basically it. That's basically it. When no workspace but persistence has git folder, copy it over and reset. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole implementation. Yeah, and by the way, we have 2 weeks to get this done, so this is actually a good scope. But I think we can, let's just take a look. Let's take a little trip through Pitcher code. There we are. Oh yeah. Oh, I have a video I should watch. Let's see.
Some test with the Next.js template. that's something that we could do for the templates, like because you're cloning some template, maybe the dependence should already be installed
Yeah.
some way, like a snapshot.
Uh,
Uh,
they will already be installed. They will already be, and dev process will already be running.
be interesting. So it's running. That's good.
Boop-boom.
And let me see
Sorry, just watching a video from a
here.
colleague.
Somehow we should allow the inspector. It's
Oh,
overthinking. Maybe because of the version of the package. Nest.js should work. And maybe with conditionality later. But let's see other things here. Let's give the app from index component. Example here. Post. Post. The assent is kind of working. That's nice. People save. Okay, the auto formatting is not working yet. Probably because of the version of the feature. No, it's the last version. We still have some problems with, I think, slint, because the template comes with this slint configuration. So the auto formatting is not working properly. We need to fix that as well to give a good experience for the users that's gonna use our templates. So
yep. Yeah, same with mentioning the formatting that we've been working on, which is being deployed now, which is nice. So that's been fixed. That's awesome.
loading. Yep, it's worked. So the first time that I start using, it's not there because
Oh, interesting.
we need to fix that.
Okay, let's see. Did I have? Yeah, Eva's mentioned. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. See if I can understand. So I guess this is more like picture agent related code. So at least the host is responsible for. Let's see. Do we have the types? Oh, yeah, I think I need some more upbeat music. Pure throwback. What the hell? So nice. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just answering some messages. Uh, mm, 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 I invited Evis. Are pretty similar. Yeah, the contents. Yeah, we're having some issues with VS Code collaboration. It's so incredibly difficult to handle. It seems to happen when someone is in web editor and the other in VS Code. Let's see. Okay, cool. So let's try to figure this out. One thing, we have this initialize message, which I'm trying to manager. Yeah, it's probably in here. Initialize, manager initialize request. Yeah, I start sandbox. Okay, so it has a type. I guess we can use that. Type branch, type sandbox. Okay, at least we have that. So when we, I guess it's the same for the reinitialize. Manager reinitialize request. Data, I reinit. Yeah, so it has a type. Okay, cool. Where do we actually do the... Okay, so we have start sandbox. Yeah, what were we talking about? If we should add the git init immediately, I guess that we can do that. Yeah, that's better. Because then we can... Is that what's better? Is it better to do the git init when we reinitialize? Yeah, I think maybe it is. Yeah, because then we can have all that logic there. Yeah, okay. Let's try that, or try to reason about where that code should run. So start sandbox would be... Yeah. But how do we know if it's... Okay, so this is start. Is that different than reinit? So the nice thing is that we don't really have to change start sandbox at all. It's exactly the same. It's more when we reinit sandbox. Is there something called reinit? Handle sandbox reinitialize. Nice. So this happens when, well, it can happen multiple times, but it certainly happens when we do a fork, we make a copy of the VM, and then we reinitialize picture. So this is where we handle frozen sandboxes. Yeah, we don't really have the concept of frozen yet, so that we don't care about that. Run this at some point without git data. Oh, post reinit. Okay, so basically here we need to write logic for the stuff. Cool. Yeah, let me just make a comment. Yeah, we serialize the workspace, which is a little bit annoying. Let me just re-init sandbox. What's that the name of it? Handle sandbox reinitialize. Dun, 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 dun. In host TS and picture agent. Cool. That's great. So now that's basically it, because that's also how, that's basically where everything, yeah, and then it's the hibernation code. Okay, let's look, see if we can figure that out. Hibernate on will hibernate. Oh yeah, that's, so I guess this is, yeah, hibernation interval. Picture instantiator send will hibernate. Initializer write snapshot. Yeah, so somewhere here we should check. Where is this? Yeah, hibernation interval. So that would be in picture agent, check type. Check type to perform logic. Okay, cool. That's nice. And then we have, yeah, so this would be the same place. When no workspace, but persistence has git folder. Let's just, cool. Now I want to explore something. I want to take a look at, I'm going to do this in a branch. here is update the diagnostics. When we have, we can do here is update the diagnostics of the document causing a lint before returning the formatted result, because we know that is going to be the new contents of the document. Um, it states I have a new message, but oh, I have a camera. But it only happens. Hey, why did you disconnect? But it only happens when it is the preview going. I'm sorry, I can't really show my Slack window, so you'll just have to excuse me. It is the preview. Cool. What were we doing? Yeah, the persistence thing. I'm not sure about this folder. Persisted. Okay, that's it. If I put something there, it's automatically persisted. Okay, so it's called persisted, not let's change the Excalidraw. Where's the Excalidraw? Persisted. Persisted. Cool. Yeah, I guess that's it. We have our, how do I delete there? Like linear is such a smooth experience. It's pretty amazing what they built. Like it looks so simple, but everything feels like super snappy. It's not easy to do. Sandbox info, yeah. For view counts, the VM sandbox is really not tied to the sandbox data that is coming from the API. Even though the VM is a direct FS memory fork, we'd expect the API on doing a SAM. Cool. I think that's good enough for yeah, I think that's good enough. So I think we should just not passing the version. Mistakes. But bigger problem is that diagnostics is bigger problem is that diagnostics is what's it called? So some entries might still be valid, while some not. But Monaco applies it all or nothing, really. But I want to explore just some simple debouncing of the diagnostics, because that does not affect the other commands. Or we could at least, when passing linting responses, can check if the document content is still the same. And when giving a response, like, yeah, the linting stuff is really tricky. Either an empty array, the last lint, or the actual result. So we do not lose any linting. Should be there. So could store the last lint result, the last diagnostics result in the document state. So how would that work? Like, if we were to, god damn it, this damn linting stuff. you might also change the code in a way that you have a document with some linting errors. You start typing. We lint in picture and discover when we lint in picture and discover when we want to return the result that the document has already changed. So what do we do here? Do we return empty array? Return empty array. No linting shown. Return the previous lint result. But that might now be broken, as you could have changed lines, etc. Would remove all linting. So if we skip, yeah. So my point is, God damn it. You avoid blinking, but there is Again. Sorry, what the hell we were doing? I think I was done, wasn't I? Yeah, we looked at the persisted stuff. Yeah. I think we're done. I think I need to stop. Like, Oscar is waking up soon anyways. But if you type at the speed where but there is an opportunity when we get sorry, I should just stop the stream because we're not going to do any more work here. I'm just going to stay on Slack and discuss something until Oscar wakes up, and then yeah, hopefully he'll be back at kindergarten tomorrow and we can do some more streaming and actually implement something. So that's cool. Okay, bye.